Thank you for joining the Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to this Bhagavatam session, Saturday special, wherein we will be discussing the second canto, 50th chapter.
हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna Matais, Hare Krishna Prabhus. So let's start by chanting Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Vihari, Jai Radha Madhava, जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी गिरिवर धारी जय यशोदा नंदना जय ब्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदनंदना जय व्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदनंदना जय व्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदनंदना जय व्रजजन रंजना जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे
भागवतम आगे।
हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे हरे
अरे वो ये
राम
भोग लगा दिया ना।
राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्री प्रभुपाद जगन्नाथ बलदेव की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंच तत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री प्रभुपाद श्री गुरुदेव तागो मेरी गो ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी So Hare Krishna Prabhu's Mataris, thank you for joining and keeping the appointment with Krishna today, 18th of February 2023. So we will be discussing from Canto 2nd, 5th chapter. There is the first half, that is, there are 42 verses in this chapter. So up to 21, we will be reciting. And the next Saturday, another Prabhu will be taking the next session, the next half. The title of the chapter is The Cause of All Causes. Sarva Karana Karana. So let us first recite. Actually, all the verses will be reciting, but let us start with the first verse itself. Naradovach देव देव नमस्तेस्तु भूतभावन पूर्वज तद्विजानीहि यज्ञानम् आत्मतत्त्वनिदर्शनम् नारदोवाच देव देव नमस्तेस्तु भूतभावन पूर्वज तद्विजानीहि यज्ञानम् आत्मतत्त्वनिदर्शनम् नारदोवाच देव देव नमस्तेस्तु भूतभावनपूर्वज त्वद्विजानीहि यज्ञानम् आत्मतत्त्वनिदर्शनम्. Anybody wants to recite? Can. Mataji is probably would like to recite this verse. Please go ahead. Nobody? Okay, I'll go to the word towards anonymous. Narada Vacha, Shri Narada said, Deva of all demigods, Deva the demigod, Namaha obeisances, Te unto you as, Astu are, Bhuta Bhavana, the generator of all living beings, Purvaja, the firstborn, Tat Vijanihi, please explain that knowledge. Yad Jnanam, which knowledge? Atma Tattva, transcendental. The Nidarshanam, specifically directs. Translation and purport by Joan Shilpa. Shilpa ki jai. Sri Narada Muni asked Brahmaji, O chief amongst the demigods, O firstborn living entity, I beg to offer my respectful obeisance unto you. Please tell me that transcendental knowledge which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul and the super soul. Purport. Perfection of the parampara system or the path of disciplic succession is further confirmed. In the previous chapter, it has been established that Brahmaji, the firstborn living entity, received knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord, and the same knowledge was imparted to Narada, the next disciple. Narada asked to receive the knowledge, and Brahmaji imparted it upon being asked. Therefore, asking for transcendental knowledge from the right person and receiving it properly is a regulation of the disciplic succession. So this process is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2. The inquisitive student must approach a qualified spiritual master to receive transcendental knowledge by surrender, submissive inquiries, and service. Knowledge received by submissive inquiries and service is more effective than knowledge received in exchange for money. A spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from Brahma and Narada has no demand for dollars and cents. The bona fide student has to satisfy him by sincere service to obtain knowledge of the relation and nature of the individual soul and the super soul. Om Gyantimrandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Sabadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagana Raghunatham Itam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagananita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शबानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमं प्रसुप्ताम् सञ्जीवयति क्लशक्तिधरस्वदाम्नाम् अन्यां च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणानम भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् So Hare Krishna Bhagavat Mataji, thank you for joining. So let us hear Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very auspicious. Start the day with Srimad Bhagavatam. So the chapter is entitled The Cause of All Causes. So in the last chapter, second chapter, I think 25th verse, in the purport, Rupada says, Shukadeva Goswami therefore prayed for the mercy of the Lord so that he might be able to repeat the very same message that was spoken directly by Lord Brahma to Narada. So therefore the statements of creation explained by Shukadeva Goswami are not at all mundane or theoretical, but are perfectly correct. So Prabhupada says, one who hears these messages and tries to assimilate them gets perfect information of the material creation. So it was told, no, Brahmaji is the chief amongst the demigods and the firstborn living entity of this universe. So this chapter is about conversation of Brahma and Narada. Brahma is father, Narada is his son, right? But it is like a spiritual master and disciple. See, Narada expresses his convictions and doubts about the supremacy of Brahma. And therefore, Brahma slowly destroys his false conviction by establishing the true status of the Lord and himself. Now, Narada here, in this chapter, in the second verse, 252, he asks 6 questions and then Brahma will answer. So, in the first paragraph, he is the first born living entity. The purport, so Brahmaji is, see, Narada Muni is asking questions, right? So, what Prabhupada says, the perfection of Parampara system is confirmed here. Parampara, disciplic section. Krishna first spoke to Brahma to Narada, right? So in the previous chapter, it has been established that Brahmaji, firstborn living, received knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord. The first chapter of Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first verse. There he says, no, Janmadhyasya, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavya. It's important knowledge to the heart of the Brahmaji. The same knowledge was imparted to Narada by Brahmaji. There is nothing separate Brahmaji told. So therefore, Narada is asking to receive the knowledge. And Brahmaji imparted it when he was asked. See, Prabhupada says in the purport, asking for transcendental knowledge from the right person and receiving it properly is a regulation of the disciplic succession. Very important point. And this is recommended in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Tadvidi Pranipatayana. That is, inquisitive. Students should be inquisitive, right? So, inquisitive student must approach a qualified spiritual master to receive transcendental knowledge. How? By surrender, submissive inquiries, and service. So, knowledge received by submissive inquiries and service is more effective than knowledge received in exchange of money. Very important, very correct. You can really realize these points. See, spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from Brahma and Narada, they have no demand for dollars or cents, right? Now, Brahmaji didn't ask some money from Narada before he could transfer knowledge, right? So, qualified student has to satisfy him by sincere service to obtain knowledge of the relation of the nature of the individual soul and the super soul. So, now in the second verse, Yadrupam yad adishtanam yadasrishtam idam prabho yadstamstam yad param yadcha tattvam vada tatvatah. So here Narada Muni is asking 6 questions. So what he is asking, my dear father, please describe factually the symptoms of this material world. What is its background? How is it created? How is it conserved? And under whose control is all this being done? See, the inquiries by Narada Muni on the basis of factual cause and effect appear very reasonable. Prabhupada says the atheists, they put forward their own theories, right, without any touch of cause and effect. So the manifested world, as well as the spirit soul, is still unexplained by the godless atheists. They don't know about this. They do by the experimental knowledge. Although they might have put so many theories, Prabhupada says manufactured by their fertile brains, right? So contrary to such speculative theories of creation, however, Narada Muni wanted to know all the facts of creation in truth and not by theories. That's why he's asking the questions. The Prabhupada says transcendental knowledge regarding the soul and the super soul includes the knowledge of the phenomenal world and the basics of its creation. So in the phenomenal world, this middle manifestation, three things are factually observed by any intelligent man. First, the living being, the manifested world, and the ultimate control over it. So intelligent man can see neither the living entity nor the phenomenal world as the creations of chance, not by chance. The symmetry of creation, no? And its regulative actions and reactions, it suggests that there's a plan of an intelligent brain behind it. It's not by chance, right? By accident, no. So by genuine inquiry, one may find out the ultimate cause with the help of one who knows them factually. That's what Narada Muni is dealing with Brahmaji. So what are the six questions, right? First question he asks is the Yad Rupam, that is the characteristics of the universe. He's trying to ask what are the characteristics of this universe? Yad Rupam. The second question he asks is Yad Adhishtanam, the shelter of this universe. Who is the shelter of this universe? The third question is Yad Thrishtam, who is the creator of the universe? The fourth question is then what are the ingredients of that? Yach. The fifth question is where does this merge at destruction? Yat samstham. And sixth question is what does it depend on? Yat param. So these are the six questions. And in the seventh chapter of the second canto, Brahma describes various incarnations of Lord, Supersoul, and Brahman. He establishes the superiority of Bhagavan and he requests Narada to expand and disseminate Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the third verse, this is Sarvam Hetas Bhavan Veda Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Karamalaka Karamalakavat Vishwam Vijnanavasitam Tava. Now Narada Muni is asking, my dear father, all this is known to you scientifically because whatever was created in the past, whatever will be created in the future, or whatever is being created at present, as well as everything within the universe, is within your grip, just like a walnut. See, Narada Muni is thinking that Brahmaji is the one who's creating everything. He doesn't think beyond that, right? He thinks Brahmaji, his father, is the supreme. See, Purport Prabhupada says Brahma is the direct creator of the manifested universe and everything within the universe. You know everybody, right? He's the direct creator of the manifested universe and everything within the universe. That is the progeny and all the things. So he therefore knows what happened in the past, what will happen in the future, and what is happening at etc. So three principal items. What are they? The living being, the phenomenal world, and the controller are all in continuous action, past, present, and future. And the direct manager is supposed to know everything, right, of such actions and reactions. As one knows about a walnut with the grip of one's palm. So just as easy as that, right? So the direct manufacturer of a particular thing is supposed to know how he learned the art of manufacturing, where he got the ingredients, how he set it up, and how the products in the manufacturing process are being turned out. So in this line, Prabhupada is giving a startup, how you can make a startup, right? So direct manufacturer, if you want to do something, he's supposed to know what? You should learn the art of manufacturing. And he should know get the how from where he can get the ingredients and how he can set it up and the products and the manufacturing process. So this very nicely given, right? So Brahma is the firstborn living being. So being the firstborn living being, naturally is supposed to know everything about creative functions. Because the first knowledge was imparted to him by the Supreme Person of all. Now in the fourth verse, Yad Vijnano Yadadharo Yad Parastam Yad Atmakahal Ekasajasi Bhutani Bhuterevatma Mayaya. Now he's asking, my dear father, what is the source of your knowledge? Under whose protection are you standing? And under whom are you working? What is your real position? Do you alone create all entities with mental elements or your personal energy? Same questions which we would be asking, right? It's asking on our behalf. The purport, see, it was known to Narada Muni. See, most of the purports are self-explanatory, yeah. I don't give to anything. But in so it was known to Narada Muni that Lord Brahma, he attained creative energy by undergoing severe austerities. He did tapa. See, when from the lotus stem, Brahmaji came out. No, he was not born like just like other human beings, right? He was just born from the lotus stem of the Supreme Lord. And when he came out, there was nothing around. There was no building, any cars moving, and so many people. Nothing was there. Only the whole sea, complete ocean, completely blank. So he was totally confused. What is the purpose of my coming here? Who am I? Right? These are the questions we should ask. Who am I? What is the purpose of my coming into this world and all these things? So he was thinking. Then he wanted to find a source, right? So he went right at the bottom of the to find out from where it came, but he could not find anything. He ultimately came back to Sutush, the place where he was born. And then he heard two words, tapa, tapa. That means just two austerities. Then he did austerities for almost 1,000 years. And then Krishna was so pleased, no? Then he gave his darshan and he imparted the knowledge. So that's why Brahmaji, the Narada Muni is saying he could understand that there was someone else superior to Brahmaji who invested Brahma with the power of creation. Therefore, he asked all the above questions. So discoveries of like the scientific achievements are therefore not independent. See, the scientist, no, first he has to attain knowledge of a thing already existing. My is wonderful brain, of course, it definitely is a wonderful brain. But something has been existing before, right? A scientist can work with the help of such an avoided brain, but it is not possible for the scientist to create his own similar brain. He cannot create another brain like this, right? So therefore, no one is independent in the matter of any creation. Nor is such creation automatic. Very emphatically, this step. It is not by accident this creation has taken place. So in the fifth verse, Atman bhavayase tani na param bhavayan swayam Atmas Shaktim Avashtabhya Purnanabhir Ivaklamah. As a spider very easily creates a network of its cobweb and manifests its power of creation without being defeated by others, so also you yourself, by employment of your self-sufficient energy, create without any other's help. Rupa gives the example. The best example of self-sufficiency is the sun. The sun does not require to be illuminated by any other body. Rather, it is the sun which helps all other illuminating agents. Because in the presence of the sun, no other illuminating agent becomes prominent. We can see nothing else can be bright. So Narada compared the position of Brahma to the self-sufficiency of a spider, who creates its own field of activities without any other's help, by employment of its own energetic creation of saliva. Now in the sixth verse, Naham Veda Param Yasmin, Na Param Nasamam Vibho, Nama Rupa Guner Bhavyam, Sadasat Kinchidanyataha. Whatever we can understand by the nomenclature, characteristics, and features of a particular thing, superior, inferior, or equal, eternal or temporary, is not created from any source other than that of your Lordship, though so great. Purport. See, the manifested world is full of varieties. You can see in this world, so many varieties. Varieties of created beings in 84 lakh species of life. And some of them are superior and inferior to others. See, in human society, no, the human being is considered to be the superior living being. And amongst the human beings, there are also different varieties. What? Good, bad, equal. But Narada Muni took for granted that none of them has any source of generation besides his father. He thought that everything comes from father, Brahmaji. Therefore, he wanted to know all about them from Lord Brahma. So the seventh verse, it says, "Yet we are moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you when we think of your great austerities and perfect discipline." So now Nardamuni says, if he is supreme, if Brahma is supreme, then to whom he is meditating? If somebody is supreme, he will not meditate on anything else, right? So he's saying, if you're moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you, when you think of your great austerities in perfect discipline. So when you do austerities, it should be in perfect discipline. And he says, although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation. So very nice purport Prabhupada gives. Following in the footsteps of Naradamuni, Sri Naradamuni, one should not blindly accept his spiritual master as God himself. You cannot accept the spiritual master as God himself, right? As Prabhupada says, a spiritual master is duly respected on a par with God. He is respected. But a spiritual master claiming to be God himself should at once be rejected. Naradamuni accepted Brahma as a supreme due to Lord Brahma's wonderful acts in creation. But see, Prabhupada says doubts arose in him that when he saw the Lord, that when he saw Brahma also worship someone superior. So supreme is supreme. And he has no worshipable superior, right? In very nice word, he says, Ahangra, Ahangra, Ahangra Pasita. Ahangraho Pasita. Or the one who worships himself with the idea of becoming God himself. Who's watching himself as a God himself, right? He's misleading. Ahangraho Pasita. But the intelligent disciple can at once detect that supreme God does not need to worship anyone, including himself, in order to become God, right? So Ahangraho Pasana may be one of the processes of for transcendental realization, but the Ahangraho Pasita can never be God himself. What a wonderful idea, no? So now we can see so many Babaji, so many they, I am God, I am God. So no one becomes God by undergoing the process of transcendental realization. So Narada Muni thought of Brahmaji as a supreme person, but when he saw Brahmaji engaged in the process of transcendental realization, doubts arose in him. So he wanted to be clearly informed. That's why he's telling, please let me know. So eighth verse, एतन्मे पृच्छतः सर्वं सर्वज्ञ सकलेश्वर विजानीहि यथैवेदम् अहं बुद्ध्यनुसात्सितः. My dear father, you know everything and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired, till now he has been inquiring, right? May all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me so that I may be able to understand it as your student. So now he is making that you are the spiritual master and the student. Just like Arjuna asked Krishna, right, in the battle of Kurukshetra, after being confused and bewildered, ultimately, this Karpanya Dosho, the second chapter, 7th verse, Krishna, I am bewildered, I am confused, I don't know what to do. So from now, you are my spiritual master, I am your disciple. Please instruct me what is beneficial to me. So similarly, so this is the mood by how which we should ask the questions to the superiors. So that and submissive mood and inquisitive mind. So the inquiries made by Narada Muni are very important for everyone concerned. And as such, Narada requested Brahmaji to deem them suitable so that all others who may come in the line of disciplined succession of the Brahma Sampradaya may also know them properly without any difficulty. This is what in that Sampradaya it was to be answered. So from the ninth verse, Brahmaji starts answering the questions. So not only in this chapter, sixth and seventh chapter, also Brahmaji continues with those six questions which Narada Muni had asked. See, the ninth is Brahmovacha. Samyak karunikasyeedam vasate vichikitsitam yadaham chodita samya bhagavat virya darshane. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty personality of Godhead. Now, Brahmaji, being so questioned by Naraji, he congratulated him. See, if somebody asks questions, we congratulate because, see, for usual for the devotees to become very enthusiastic, whenever They are questioned by concerning the Almighty Person of God. So when Narada Muni asked the question, Brahma, but he felt so happy. So it's very good, nice questions. Thank you very much. Because by hearing those questions, the person who's about to answer, he was reminded of the Supreme Personality of God. That makes him remember. That's why he's so happy. So he congratulated Narada Muni. So this is a sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. And Prabhupada very nicely gives, see, the purport is so beautiful. Such discourses on the transcendental activities of the Lord purify the atmosphere in which such discussions are held. So we are here. So we hear Krishna Katha, go for program. When Prabhu is or Maharaj, they are speaking and you're hearing. So the atmosphere in which discussions are held, no, it purifies. And the devotees thus become enlivened. Especially the person who's like the Brahma is enlivened while answering such questions. So it is purifying both for the questioners and for one who answers the questions. So the pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but also eager to broadcast the information to others. So just gaining knowledge is not enough. To give this knowledge to others, that is all the more. So they're eager to give this because they want to see that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. This is what Prabhupada did, right? And now everybody is giving this knowledge to everyone. So the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him. So this is a basic principle of missionary activities. That's what in this con we see so many wonderful Maharajas, Prabhus, senior Prabhus and all. They disseminating this knowledge to one and all, everywhere, right? So everybody is benefited and the whole atmosphere getting purified. The discussion of Bhagavatam purifies the whole atmosphere. Just like when Maharaj Parishit asked so many questions to Shukadeva Goswami and he imparted the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the 10th is Nan Nanritam Tava Tachapi Yatamam Prabravishibo Avigyaya Param Matta Etavatvam Yatohime. Brahmaji is telling, whatever you have spoken about me is not false. Because unless and until one is aware of the personality of Godhead, who is ultimate truth beyond me, one is sure to be illusion by observing my powerful activities. Now, please, this purport is a little long, but this will give what Brahmaji is telling about illusion by observing my powerful activities. See, the frog in the well logic. Prabhupada gives in most of his lectures also. The frog in the well logic illustrates that a frog residing in the atmosphere and boundary of a well cannot imagine the length and breadth of the gigantic ocean. Such a frog, when informed of the gigantic length and breadth of the ocean, first of all, does not believe that there is such an ocean. And if someone assures him that actually there is such a thing, there is an ocean, the frog then begins to measure it by imagination, by means of pumping its belly as far as possible, just to understand, oh, it will be so much, it will be so much. With the result that the tiny abdomen of the frog bursts and the poor frog dies without any experience of the actual ocean. Now, similarly, the material scientists also want to challenge the inconceivable potency of the Lord by measuring him with their frog-like brains and their scientific achievements. But at the end, they simply die unsuccessfully like the frog. See, in this paragraph, sometimes Prabhupada says that sometimes a materially powerful man is actually accepted as God. We can see in this country nowadays, right? Powerful man, they worship him. They have a statue, do abhishek, everything is done. They accept God as the incarnation of God without any knowledge of the factual God. And such a material assessment may be gradually extended, and that time may reach to the highest limit of Brahmaji, who is the topmost living being within the universe. And he has a duration of life. How much? Kali Yuga maybe 100, but the duration of Brahmaji, unimaginable to the material scientist. See, as we get the information from the most authentic book of knowledge, Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Brahmaji's one day and night is calculated to be some hundreds of thousands of years on our planet. So this long duration of life, it may not be believed, no, by the frog in the well. Now he's referring to all the scientists and all the philosophers, mundane people, right? Frog, like just like the frog in the well. But persons who have realization of the truths mentioned in Bhagavad Gita accept the existence of a great personality who creates the variegateness of the complete universe. There is somebody supreme who is creating everything. So it is understood from the revealed scriptures that Brahmaji of this universe is younger than all the other Brahmas in charge of the many, many universes. There is this not so there is no it is not that only one universe is there. This is one of the universes. There are many universes. And in each universe there is a Brahmaji. So Brahmaji of our universe is younger. We should hang it. Then all the other Brahmas in charge of many, many universes beyond this. But none of them can equal the personality of God. Naraji is one of the liberated souls. See, another wonderful, please hear carefully. See, Naraji is one of the liberated souls. And after his liberation, he was known as Narada. After liberation, he was known as Narada. Otherwise, before his liberation, he was simply a son of a maid servant. Now, the questions may be asked why Naraji was not aware of the Supreme Lord and why he misconceived Brahmaji to be Supreme Lord, although if actually he was not. See, a liberated soul is never bewildered by such a mistaken idea. So, why did Naraji ask all those questions just like an ordinary man with a poor fund of knowledge? There are such bewilderment in Arjuna also, although he is eternally the associate of the Lord. Now, such bewilderment in Arjuna or in Narada takes place by the will of the Lord. Why? So that the non-liberated persons may realize the truth and knowledge of the Lord. The doubt arising in the mind of Narada about Brahmaji becoming all-powerful is a lesson for the frogs in the well. That they may not be bewildered, misconceiving the identity of the personality of Godhead, even by comparison to personality of Brahma. So, what to speak of ordinary men who falsely post themselves as God or incarnation of God? The Supreme Lord is always supreme. That's it. Very emphatic statement of Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord is always supreme. And as we have tried to establish many times in these purports, no living being, even up to the standard of Brahma, can claim to be one with the Lord. One should not be misled when people worship a great man as God after his death as a matter of hero worship. That's what people are doing, right? See, there were many kings like Lord Ramachandra, the king of Ayodhya, but none of them are mentioned as God in the revealed scriptures. Very nice points. To be a good king is not necessarily the qualification for being Lord Ram, but to be a great personality like Krishna is a qualification for being the personality of God. Now, if we scrutinize the characters who took part in the battle of Kurukshetra, we may find that Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was no less a pious king than Lord Ramchandra. And by character study, Maharaj Yudhishthira was a better moralist than Lord Krishna. How? Lord Krishna asked Maharaj Yudhishthira to lie. But Maharaj Yudhishthira protested. But that does not mean that Maharaj Yudhishthira could be equal to Lord Ramchandra or Lord Krishna. The great authorities have estimated Maharaj Yudhishthira to be a pious man, but they have accepted Lord Ram or Krishna as the personality of God. So Lord is therefore a different identity in all circumstances. And no idea of another wonderful word he says, anthropomorphism can be applied to him. The Lord is always the Lord, and a common living being can never be equal to him. Meaning of anthropomorphism is showing or treating like animals or gods and objects as if they are human in appearance. So this is very misleading, right? The 11th verse, Yena swarochisha vishwam rochitam rochayamyaham yatharkognir yatha somo yatarksha graha tarakaha. I create after the Lord's creation. See, very nice. I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence, known as the Brahma Jyoti. Just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness. Again, I think we have to go through the purpose here very carefully, how it's very sequentially, with logically, Brahmaji is answering the questions of Narada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Brahmaji,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The word firmament means what, Prabhuji?
It's all in the like the stars and all, no? Moon, stars, influential planets. Whatever there in the sky, you can see, right? Things.
Thank you.
Okay. See, Brahmaji said to Narada that his impression that Brahma was not the supreme authority in the creation was correct. Sometimes less intelligent men have foolish impression that Brahma is the cause of all causes. But Narada wanted to clear the matter by the statements of Brahmaji, who is the supreme authority in the universe. So it's just like as this decision of the Supreme Court, that is final. Similarly, the judgment of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe, is final in the Vedic process of acquiring knowledge. As we have already affirmed in the previous verse, Naraji was a liberated soul. Therefore, he was not one of the less intelligent men who accept a false god or gods in their own ways. He represented himself as less intelligent and yet intelligently presented a doubt to be cleared by the supreme authority, so that uninformed people who don't know might take note of it and be rightly informed about the intricacies of the creation and the creator. So in this verse, Brahmaji clears the wrong impression held by the less intelligent and affirms that he creates the universal variegatedness after the creation by the glaring effulgence of Lord Shri Krishna. So Brahmaji has also separately given this statement in the Brahma Samhita. Yasya prabhavato jagadanda kotishvashesha vasudadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. He says, I serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the primeval Lord, transcendental bodily effulgence, known as Brahmajyoti, which is unlimited, unfathomed, and all pervasive, is the cause of the creation of unlimited number of planets, etc., with varieties of climates and specific conditions of life. So, the same statement in Bhagavad Gita 14.27, Lord Krishna is the background of the Brahmajyoti. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. In the Nirukti or Vedic dictionary, the import of pratishtha is mentioned as that which he establishes. So, the Brahmajyoti is not independent of or self-sufficient. Lord Krishna is ultimately the creator of the Brahmajyoti. Mentioned this verse as Swarochisha, or the effulgence of the transcendental body of the Lord. So, this Brahmajyoti is all-pervading, and all creation is made possible by its power. Therefore, the Vedic hymns declare that everything that exists is being sustained by the Brahmajyoti. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma. Therefore, the potent seed of all creation is the Brahmajyoti. And the same Brahmajyoti, unlimited and unfathomed, is established by the Lord. Therefore, Lord Shri Krishna is ultimately the supreme cause of all creation. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. This is seed verse 10.8 in Bhagavad Gita. So one should not expect the Lord to create like a blacksmith, with a hammer and other instruments. The Lord creates by his potencies. Because he has his multifarious potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyati. Very good example. Just as a small seed of a banyan fruit, very small seed, has a potential to create a big banyan tree. You just cannot imagine, right? Small seed put in the ground, it's a huge banyan tree. Just like that, the Lord disseminates all varieties of seeds by his potent Brahmajyoti, Swarochisha. And the seeds are made to develop by the watering process of persons like Brahma. See, Brahma cannot create the seeds. Correct? He cannot create the seeds. But he can manifest the seed into a tree. Just as a gardener helps plants and orchards to grow by watering the process. So the example cited here of the sun is very appropriate. So in the material world, the sun is the cause of all illumination. Fire, electricity, rays of the moon. So all luminaries in the sky are creation of the sun. The sun is the creation of the Brahmajyoti. And the Brahmajyoti is the effulgence of the Lord. Thus, the ultimate cause of creation is the Lord. There is a chapter, the title of the chapter is Cause of All Causes. The 12th verse. See, before that, in the Padma Purana, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, "Oh Devi, of all forms of worship, Vishnu worship is the highest. But higher than that is the worship of all the things belonging to Vishnu." See, the easiest way to approach Krishna is by approaching his pure devotees. See, one of the Lord's dearmost devotees is Lord Brahma, Swayambhu, who is glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam as the first in the list of Mahajanas. The Lord Brahma is born from the lotus which grows from the abdomen of Garbhodakashai Vishnu. And therefore, he is known as Aja. Now, being the most pious devotee of the Lord, Brahma is inspired by the Lord to create the main creation by the Lord. The seed was given by Krishna, and then subsequently he creates. Though now through the agency of material nature. Now the Vedic knowledge was therefore first impregnated within Brahma by the Supreme Lord. So let us now try to learn some of the primary teachings that Lord Brahma gives us through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. First is being honest and humble. Now Narada Muni was telling that he feels that, Father, you are the supreme. He could have told, yes, I am doing everything. No, but he is honest and humble. Lord Brahma is the father of Narada Muni and is in such an exalted position. And he has the most important service of creating the entire universe. And being the chief administrator of the affairs of the middle universe, he is a direct representative of Krishna. That's why in this chapter, second kind of fifth chapter, we see Narada Muni asking Lord Brahma several questions about the creation of the universe and also glorifying him as a knower and controller of everything. See, if we hear such glorification about us from anyone, somebody comes and appreciates, glorifies us, we happily take those credits, even though we are not the true recipient of those credits. This is due to lack of honesty and humility in us. However, Lord Brahma very humbly states his real position to Narada Muni by comparing himself to the star in front of the sun. That is the Supreme Lord Krishna, and glorifies the Lord in this 11th one we just saw, right? So when instructing Narada Muni, Brahmaji does not in any way boast about his own glories. He was not trying to prove how great he is, but is rather glorifying the greatness of the Supreme Lord Krishna. He tells that the real creator is Krishna and he is only his servant. So this is the symptom of the real spiritual master who always teaches his disciples of the absolute necessity of taking shelter of Krishna. This is beauty. Then he is a spiritual master. See, in the episode of Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj's spiritual master was Shukracharya. So when Vamandev was asking him 3 steps, Bali Maharaj was ready to give, right? But Shukracharya was telling him, Shukracharya knew that Vamandev was the Supreme Lord. So he was telling Bali Maharaj, no, don't follow. He's telling him not to follow Krishna. So that means he's not a real spiritual master. That means he's taking you away from Krishna. So the spiritual master who points everything towards Krishna, guides you towards Krishna, is a real spiritual master. So we can also see this magnificent quality in Srila Prabhupada, who always gave credit to the spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this is a very important lesson to all of us to remember that we are just instruments in the hands of Guru and Krishna. And we must be honest and humble about it. The second point is the importance of earnest surrender. That is very important. Surrender. Lord Brahma answers all the questions of Narada Muni, which are not normally known to any living entity within this world. So while concluding his answers, he tells beautifully that he got all this knowledge by earnestly catching hold of the Lord's lotus feet. In 2.6.34, second canto 6, chapter 34th verse, he says, O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false. Nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment. So what happens? He just catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord. So he was never proved false. Whatever he says was true. And his progress of mind never deterred. And senses never degraded. So this beautiful verse in 634, Lord Brahma gives all the credit for his glories to Supreme Lord. It also reveals to us how he got such great prowess. See, in our case, our statements are often proved false, either because of the changing situations, persons, or external factors. See, what we say today does not hold true tomorrow. Our mind is always unsteady. Our senses are very easily get distracted towards the temporary objects. But Lord Brahma says that he perfected himself in all these 3 aspects because simply with great zeal and earnestness, he caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord. Prabhupada very nicely, beautifully says in the purport of 2634, the devotees are especially protected by the Lord so that they may remain infallible. Anyone who is earnestly serious in heart and soul about being in intimate touch with the personality of Godhead in the relationship of transcendental loving service will always be infallible in words and action. The reason is that the Supreme Lord is absolute truth. And anything earnestly doubted with the absolute truth attains the same transcendental quality. See, in the 12th verse, Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhimahi Yenmayaya Durjaya Durjayaya Mam Vadanti Jagadgurum. I offer my obeisances and meditate upon Lord Krishna Vasudeva, personality of Godhead, whose invincible potency influences them. The less intelligent class of men call me the supreme controller. See, as will be more clearly explained in the next verse, the illusory potency of the Lord bewilders the less intelligent to accept Brahmaji, or for that, any other person as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are less intelligent. Now, Brahmaji refuses to be called this, and he directly offers his respectful obeisance to Lord Vasudeva. That's why when someone appreciates us and glorifies us, we should just pass it on to Guru, and Guru will pass it on to his, like that this parampara it goes. Nothing, because everything comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Brahmaji refuses to call this, and he directly offers the respect of unto Lord Vasudeva Krishna, as he has already offered the same respects to him in Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Adiradir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Lord is the Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, the primeval Lord in his transcendental body, the ultimate cause of all causes. I worship that primeval Lord Govinda. So Brahmaji is conscious of his actual position. So everyone in this question of moment, they should be conscious of their actual position. And he knows how less intelligent persons, bewildered by the illusion energy of the Lord, whimsically accept anyone and everyone as God. A responsible personality like Brahmaji refuses to be addressed as Supreme Lord by his disciples or subordinates. But foolish persons praised by men of the nature of dogs, hogs, camels, and asses feel flattered to be addressed as Supreme Lord. So why such persons take pleasure in being addressed as God? Why such persons are addressed as God by foolish admirers is explained in the next verse. Vilajyamanaya vyasya statum ikshapate mamuya vimohita vikathante mamaham iti durdiyaha. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of a position, but those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. This is mine, this is I have done this is mine. This is the biggest problem. Ego, false ego. See, in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 31st verse, the first para of the purport is very nice to meditate. Where it says, whatever form of mental existence one is in, one is invariably ignorant of his real situation. In other words, existence in the material world is due to the multiple reactions of our sinful lives. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, and sinful life is the cause of one's dragging on material existence. A powerful statement. The human form of life is the only loophole by which one may get out of this entanglement. Vedas therefore give us a chance for escape by pointing out the paths of religion, economic comfort, regulated sense gratification, and at last the means to get out of the miserable condition entirely. See, this word loophole, everybody is loophole, right? Is word to meditate. Loop means endless strip of tape or film allowing continuous repetition. And loophole means outlet. Now, Prabhupada very nicely explains logically why we are in the loop, so that we will understand our position in the present form of material existence, right? First, he says material existence is due to ignorance of his real situation. We are material because we are ignorant. We don't know the real position. Second, existence in the material world is due to our multiple reactions to our sinful lives. How many lives we have gone through? Sinful lives. That's why we are in the material existence. Third is is due to sinful life. And sinful life, fourth one is sinful life is the cause of dragging on in material existence. So the loop is because of ignorance of real situation. We lead sinful life, and sinful life leads to dragging on in mental existence. And mental existence is due to ignorance of our real situation. So this loop is continuing for several lives in the form of various species: cat, dog, hog, camel. And we continue without any knowledge to get out of this loop. But the human form of life is the only loophole, only outlet to understand this loop and the way to get out of this loop. Prabhupada gives a nice example in Ishopanishad that human life is a life of responsibilities. See, just like a bank manager is given more responsibilities and facilities, right, than a clerk of the bank. So also, the human being is also given additional facilities in the form of three primary invaluable boons to be utilized to get out of this devastating loop. So the loop is so subtle that we don't realize the impact or damage it causes to all of us at all times. The three primary invaluable boons are given in Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 20, 17. 11th canto, 27, 17 verse. He says, the first boon is human form of life is a perfectly conditioned, constructed boat. Human form, perfectly constructed boat. Second boon, spiritual master, Prabhupada and Guru as captain of the boat. And third boon, instructions of personality of God as favorable winds. So unless these three boons are used effectively, the loop is very difficult to clear. So we have got the human form of life, human form. Then we have got the Guru, who is the captain of the ship, and just follow the instructions. With those are the favorable winds. Then we can get out of this loop. The other meaning of loophole is in medieval world, right? By identifying mistakes in the laws of the state, right? And try to evade the law tactfully. There is some loophole in this law. So in the case of material laws of nature, it is very powerful delivering energy of the Lord, no? Therefore, very difficult to evade. Until such time we take complete shelter and surrender of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada explains the position of this powerful loop in the purport 2.5.13 in this verse. The invincibly, just, yeah, this is the purport of the invincible powerful delivering energy of the personal Godhead, third energy representing the signs, right? Can bewilder entire world of animation. But still, he's not strong enough to be able to stand in front of the Supreme Lord. So in this Kali Yuga of fast life, it has become very essential for us to sincerely, seriously, and constantly strive for keeping in touch with the holy names, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and association of devotees. Very essential. Sincerely, you should do that. Seriously and constantly. What? Chant the holy names, read Bhagavad Gita, read Srimad Bhagavatam, and be in the association of devotees. If we do not do that, then we'll be endlessly entangled in the loop for so many millions of births. The choice is ours. And Supreme Lord has given us independent free will to get out of this, right? In this powerful, invincible, powerful, deluding loop. We have to get out. See, the most common phrase in non-devotee circle is heart attack. And in the devotee circle is Maya attack. Maya is very powerful. But only when we are not with Krishna, right? Then it is powerful. See, during our childhood, most of us would always have the habit of hiding behind our parents. If you are scared of someone or something, correct? In a similar way, if we hide behind Krishna, Maya would not be able to cast her spell. See, Tamil language, there's a very powerful statement which means, please maintain distance from an enemy. But do we actually do this? We have this attitude of touching fire and telling, oh, it is hot. What foolishness. We are so glued to our Kali Purana. What is Kali Purana? Newspapers. We are so much glued to that. The Bhagavad Purana is tasteless for us. We enjoy mega serials in television. Even if we miss the serial for one full year, no, next time we watch it, the serial would still make good sense. We are also the best. And we are also the best leaders, Gramya Katha, gossiping. We enjoy bad association, bad thoughts. See, we are all aware that these are the places where Maya resides, but still we would associate with them and challenge Maya. But we forget that Maya is greater than us, and we would be defeated by the illusion energy of the Lord. very easily, even before we realize what actually happened to us. But Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Maya Duratyaya, my illusion energy is very difficult to overcome. So by wasting our time in all these karmic things, our BP, blood pressure gets increased, reducing our real BP. That is bhakti and preeti for Krishna. See, we don't open our hands to Krishna. Lord Jagannath's hands are wide open for us to hug him, but we stretch and make our hands open wider and wider from Maya. We loudly call her, come Maya, come. It's not that Maya is attacking us. It's only we are happily inviting her for trouble. Once she attacks, then the I factor and aham factor, we are everything, it dominates our life and we talk nonsense. See, even in spiritual life, we blow our own trumpet. I did this, I did that, I know this. We should always introspect and question our bhakti, which is always at stake. See, can we express the love in the way gopis have for Krishna? Can we ever feed Krishna like the way Mother Yashoda fed? Can we ever care Krishna like how Mananda Maharaj did? Can we even come close to Sudama, who happily returned back to his home, even when he did not get a chance to ask Krishna for what his wife had sent him? Can we ever be obedient and truthful like King Yudhishthira? The list is endless. See, when the answer to these questions is a complete no, then what is the use in carrying out I baggage? Krishna does not want our 1 rupee bhoga or a glass of mineral water. He wants his bhakti. More we mellow down, more our demonic tongue is tightly sealed, the more we prosper in devotional service. So when we asked our Guru Maharaj how to improve our quality of chanting, he said, you remember your last day. Always remember your last day. You don't know what is the last day, right? So it always, the quality of chanting will improve. That's why Chaitanya Chaitanya Madhya 22:31, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakara, Yaham Krishna Tahan Nahi Mayara Adhikara. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, influence of external energy will immediately vanish. That's why in the 14th, now he gives the elementary creation of the India. 14th is the question. No, we had this question, right? First question was characteristics of the universe. It was Yadrupam. The second question was shelter of universe, Yadadishtanam. So he's giving the answers in 14, 15, and 16. Who is the shelter of the universe? He's giving this answer. See, just read the purpose. The time is also. See, the 5 elementary ingredients of creation, interaction thereof, set up eternal time, intuition or nature of the living beings are all differentiated parts and parcels of the personality of Godhead. Vasudeva. In truth, there is no other value in them. And the 15th and 16th, very important verses. Narayana Paraveda, Na Deva Narayana Angajaha, Narayana Paraloka, Narayana Paramakaha. The Vedic literatures are made by and are meant for the Supreme Lord. The demigods are also meant for serving the Lord as parts of his body. Different planets are also meant for the sake of the Lord. And different sacrifices are made performed just to please him. In the 16th verse, he says, Narayana Paro Yogo, Narayana Param Tapaha, Narayana Param Jnanam, Narayana Paragatihi. All different types of meditation and all mysticism are means for realizing Narayana. All austerities are aimed at achieving Narayana. Culture of transcendental knowledge is getting a glimpse of Narayana. Ultimately, salvation is entering kingdom of Narayana. So he is the shelter. That's what the answer to the questions he has given. So all great acharyas have established that the goal of all knowledge is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari. And surrendering to him is in full devotional service is the perfection of human life. So this is also declared by the Lord himself. Vedasya Sarve Aham Ev Vedya. 15.15. So, see all this possible because Prabhupada's preaching was based on Srimad Bhagavatam. What is it? It is a distilled essence of the Vedas. That's why in 15 and 16, no, he says, we just read the 15, 16 and 17, right? Narayana, he is the complete shelter. See, once somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhu, what is the proof that the statements like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are true? He replied, in these scriptures it is explained, the person who follows the principles of Bhakti Yoga becomes a lover of God and he becomes indifferent to the dualities of the world. So Srila Prabhupada has practically demonstrated this by making people from different backgrounds to be sincere devotees of Lord Krishna. And now they exhibit all the qualities of devotees mentioned in these scriptures. So what more proof you need? So that is a powerful statement, right? The 17 is inspired by him only. I discover what is already created by him, Narayana, under his vision as all pervading super soul, and I also am created by him only. So he's giving the supremacy, right? In the 18th verse, he says, the Supreme Lord is pure, spiritual form, transcendental to all mental qualities. Yet, for the sake of creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. 19, he says, these three modes of mental nature, being further manifested as matter, knowledge, and activities, put the eternally transient living entity under conditions of cause and effect and make him responsible for such activities. The 20th, he says, oh, Brahmana, Narada, the super seer, the transcendental Lord, is beyond the perception of material senses of living entities because of the above mentioned three modes of nature. But he is a controller of everyone, including me. The 21st, he says, the Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates by his own potency, eternal time, the fate of all living entities and their particular nature for which they were created, and he again merges them independently. See, the Lord does not just stop with creating the bodies for living entities, but also stays with them constantly as well-wishing friend, only because of his compassion towards us. He waits and watches us through all our enjoyment and suffering. And when we stop enjoying our suffering and turns towards him, then he starts guiding us towards his lotus feet. So this point is very nicely, explained in the Vedas, how Lord enters our body called as Puram and enters them as Purusha. The Supreme Lord created the residences, bodies with two legs, devas and human beings. With four legs, animals. After creating, the Lord entered into all these bodies as a bird with beautiful wings. Since he resides in all the bodies along with the living entities, with all kinds of bodies, he is called Purusha. So there is nothing in the creation which is not pervaded by the Supreme Purusha from inside and outside. This is Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. See, although Krishna is situated in our heart along with us, none of our enjoyment, suffering, or our karmas touch him. He always remains in his transcendental position. There's a nice story. Once the Guru was teaching his disciple how the Lord and living entity reside in the heart of everybody. Guru said, according to the scriptures, two birds, the Lord and living entity, are living in the same tree body. One bird, living entity, eats the fruits of the tree, which are sweet and sour, happiness and distress. Other bird, Lord, simply watches this bird and not affected by happiness or distress. Now the student raised a question. How come the Lord seated in our heart is not affected by our happiness and suffering when we are completely influenced by them? We do not see that happening practically anywhere. Now Guru, he kept quiet. The student thought that he has cornered the Guru and became very proud of his knowledge and started boasting to other students. After a few days, Guru arranged for a grand feast for all the students and he personally served halwa soaked in ghee to each one of them. To this, the particular student who asked the question, he served the halwa on his palm and asked him to eat it. After eating, he gave the washing powder to student to wash his hand as it was stuck with ghee. After this, he gave him some more washing powder and asked the student, wash your tongue with this. Student replied, why to wash the tongue? The ghee has not stuck at all. Guru immediately replied, does this answer your query? Ghee is just a material substance and it sticks in your hand, not in your tongue. If this is the potency of a material substance, then think of all the all-powerful Supreme Lord who is beyond the modes. Though he is in everyone's heart, he is never entangled. If you surrender to him, you will also become free from all bondage and reach his lotus feet. The student then understood the answer and asked forgiveness from Guru. So these are all the very powerful statements we can understand. So we should carve one thing in our mind. Everything is under the control of Krishna. Whether we like it or not, it's a fact. Because he is the supreme controller. If he allows, then only we can see and hear each other. In this age, it is so rare to come together to glorify. Correct, no? Day by day, Kali Yuga forces are advancing very fast. So in order to get out of this precarious situation, very sincere attachment to Vedic traditions are required. The domain of Krishna is completely unknown to us. So our sincerity alone will give the peep into that domain. See, Krishna has stamped everything here as temporary, Nashwaram. So to achieve permanency and a sane attitude towards worldly gains losses, we have to have permanent connection with Krishna through Srila Prabhupada's books. And this is the necessity of it. By studying the books, we have to understand how Krishna is the root of all creation. We should remember, for material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes three Vishnus. First one is Mahavishnu, Karanagata Vishnu. He creates the total material energy known as the Mahatattva. Second is Garbhodakasha Vishnu. He enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. Third is Kshirodakasha Vishnu. He is diffused as the all-pervading super soul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. So he is present even within the atom. Anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. Karanagata Vishnu, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, Kshirodakasha Vishnu. So the material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. So all the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnus, expansions of Lord Krishna. So all the material elements are created out of Tamoguna. And that is the reason that any of the sense objects are not able to give us any satisfaction. Because we are spiritual entities. And this we have to understand from Srimad Bhagavatam. So whatever is created under the influence of time. So carving these things in our mind, we have to fully depend upon Krishna. And by doing this, we are not cheated. Others are cheated because they depend upon their intelligence. Don't depend upon anybody and dig into your own heels with sincerity. Sorry. As soon as we remember Krishna as the supreme controller, the only one in charge, all in all our material accounts are settled. We come to the conclusion, Krishnat param kimapi tattvam aham na jane. I do not know any truth other than Krishna. That is it. It settles everything. So this is the key to settle the material accounts. He is in complete control. He does whatever he wants. So we are helpless. So what we have to do? We have to just surrender to him. And this settles our account. We stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for giving me this opportunity to glorify the Lord. It's a very tough subject like creation, but it's very useful to understand these things. Of course, it will come in detail more in the cantos further.